Some places don't want to be found, and some investigators never come back. This story was shared online by a paranormal investigator named Marcus. This was the last investigation he ever recorded. After uploading the footage, he vanished from the internet completely. No videos, no interviews, no explanation. This is what the camera captured. Marcus had investigated over 60 haunted locations. He had always walked back out, until the house outside Redfield. 11:03 p.m. He almost missed the turnoff. No signpost, no mailbox, just a dirt path disappearing into darkness. And at the end of it, the house. He sat in the car for a long moment without moving. Something felt wrong. Not dangerous, just wrong. He stepped out and immediately noticed the silence. Not quiet, not peaceful, silent. No insects, no wind, no sound of any kind, just his boots on the gravel. He raised the camera slowly. Dead trees, broken windows, rotting walls, fog swallowing the road behind him. Every room inside, completely dark. He stopped at the front door. It was already open, just an inch. Marcus stared at that gap for a long moment, then pointed the camera at himself. 63 investigations, he said quietly. I always walked out. He looked back at the door. Let's see if tonight is different. He pushed it open, stepped inside. The footage after this point lasts 47 minutes. In those 47 minutes, Marcus never once looked back at the exit. Not even once.
The house had been empty for 30 years, so why was something moving upstairs? The inside was worse than the outside. Dust covered everything. Furniture, floor, every surface untouched for decades. Family photographs still hung on the walls. That was the first thing that bothered Marcus. Not the darkness, not the smell, the photographs. Someone had left in a hurry. He moved through the living room slowly, camera steady, saying nothing. Strange dark stains spread across parts of the ceiling above him. He didn't mention them. He just kept walking. 12:01 a.m. Nothing unusual had happened yet. Then the microphone caught it. Knock. Marcus froze. Knock. Slow. Heavy. Coming from directly above him. Upstairs. He stood completely still for 3 full seconds. Then it came again. Knock. 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 Louder this time. More deliberate. Like something that knew it had been heard, and wanted to make sure. Marcus laughed quietly. Probably just old pipes. But his voice had changed. Lower. Slower. The easy confidence from outside, completely gone. He stood at the bottom of the staircase and pointed the camera upward. Pure darkness at the top. He clicked on his flashlight. The beam disappeared into the black before reaching the top step. Okay, he whispered. He put one hand on the railing. It was cold. Much too cold for a house with no air conditioning on a warm night. He took the first step. The wood creaked beneath him, loud in the total silence. He stopped. Listened. Nothing. He took another step. Then another. Halfway up, the knocking stopped completely. And that silence was somehow worse than the sound. Marcus pointed the flashlight upward one more time. At the top of the stairs, a door. Closed. It came from behind there, he whispered. He kept climbing. What was behind that door? Marcus never talked about. But the camera saw everything. The higher he climbed, the colder it got. Every step creaked beneath his boots. Loud. Hollow. Like the house was announcing his arrival to whatever waited above. Marcus kept the camera steady. Kept moving. But his breathing had changed. Slower. More careful. The kind of breathing people do when they're trying not to make a sound. By the 5th step, he could see his own breath. Not possible on a warm night. Not in a house with no cooling system. He stopped and stared at the white mist curling from his mouth. Said nothing. Kept climbing. Then his flashlight flickered. Just once. Just for a second. But in that single moment of darkness, Marcus saw something at the end of the hallway. Tall. Still. Standing. The light came back. The hallway was empty. Marcus stood completely frozen at the top of the stairs. Camera pointed forward. Not moving. 10 seconds passed. 20. He laughed once, short and quiet. Old wiring, he whispered. Just old wiring. He took one step into the hallway, then stopped. Footsteps. Not from downstairs. Not from outside. From somewhere right beside him in the darkness. Slow. Deliberate. Like something that wasn't trying to hide anymore. Marcus turned the camera left. Then right. Nothing. But the footsteps continued. Getting closer. Who's there? He whispered. The house gave no answer. Just the sound of something moving. Closer. And closer. Marcus kept the camera rolling. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He just whispered one thing. And what he said changed everything.
The door opened by itself. Marcus hadn't touched it. He stood in the hallway and stared at the darkness inside. Camera steady, not moving. For a long moment, he just watched the open door, waiting to see if something would come out. Nothing did. He stepped inside. The room was small, too small for how heavy it felt. Old toys scattered across the floor, a wooden horse, a rag doll, building blocks arranged in a perfect circle. Someone had arranged them. Recently, the dust on the floor had been disturbed. Fresh footprints near the window. Small ones. Child-sized. Marcus said nothing. Just moved the camera slowly across the room. Then the beam hit the walls. Drawings. Covering every inch. Crayon. Pencil. Something darker. Marcus stepped closer. Every single drawing showed the same thing. Tall dark figures. Standing beside beds. Watching people sleep. In every drawing, the figures stood in the same position. Same height. Same stillness. Like the one Marcus had seen at the end of the hallway. He took one step backward. Then another. His back hit the doorframe. We need to. Bang. The whole house shook. Something downstairs. Something big. Marcus spun toward the staircase. The camera caught his face for just a moment. And for the first time all night, Marcus looked truly afraid. He had investigated 63 locations. He had never once run. Until now.
He had locked it. He was certain. Marcus hit the bottom of the stairs at full speed. And stopped dead. The front door was wide open. Cold wind moved slowly. Through the hallway, pushing. Dust across the floor in thin waves. The fog outside had thickened. Beyond the doorway, just darkness. Marcus stood completely still. Camera pointed at the open door. I locked that, he whispered. Not for the viewers. For himself. I locked that when I came in. He hadn't imagined it. He remembered the sound, the click of the old lock sliding into place. He had checked it twice, and now it stood wide open, like something had unlocked it from the inside. He took one step toward the door, then stopped, whispering, soft, low, coming from everywhere at once. Not one voice, several, speaking at the same time, words overlapping, blending together into something that almost sounded like language but wasn't quite. Marcus spun around. Empty hallway. He turned left. Nothing. He turned right. Nothing. But the whispering continued. Getting closer. Getting clearer. Almost like it was trying to form words. Almost like it was trying to say his name. Marcus did something he had never done in 4 years of investigation. He stopped recording. Just for 3 seconds. When the footage resumed, he was already outside, running, and the front door was closed behind him, locked, from the inside. Marcus had checked every room.
Every room except one. He stood outside in the cold for a long time. Camera still running, hands shaking slightly. He stared at the house, at the closed front door, at the darkness behind every window. Then he did something nobody expected. He went back inside. There's a basement, he said quietly. I haven't checked the basement. The door to it was beneath the staircase. Small, low, like it was built for someone who didn't want to be seen going in. A padlock hung from the latch. Broken. Recently. Marcus crouched down and picked it up. The metal was warm. In a house that had been ice cold all night. The padlock was warm. He set it down slowly. Reached for the latch. Whatever is down there, he whispered. It already knows I'm here. He pulled the door open. Cold black air rushed out like a breath. Like something exhaling. Like something that had been waiting. And was finally relieved he had arrived. Marcus pointed the flashlight down. Concrete steps disappearing into pure darkness. He took the first step down. The camera feed cut to static for exactly 11 seconds. When it came back, Marcus was at the bottom. And he was not alone.
There was a room that wasn't on any floor plan. A room that had no reason to exist. At the bottom of the basement. A door. Not old. Not rotting. New. Fresh wood. Clean hinges. A bright brass handle. Everything else in this house was 30 years of decay. But this door looked like it had been installed yesterday. Marcus stared at it for a long time. "Someone has been here," he whispered. "Recently." He reached for the handle. It turned easily. He stepped inside. Mirrors. Floor to ceiling. Wall to wall. Every surface covered in mirrors, reflecting his flashlight beam. Back at him from every angle, filling the room with fractured light. Marcus turned slowly. His reflection turned with him. Every mirror. Every angle. He laughed nervously. "Okay. That's strange." He moved deeper into the room. Then stopped. One mirror. In the far corner. His reflection wasn't moving. Marcus raised his hand. The reflection didn't raise its hand. Marcus stepped left. The reflection stayed still. "That's not possible," he whispered. Then the reflection smiled. Marcus hadn't smiled. He stumbled backward. And every mirror in the room went dark simultaneously. Not black. Dark. Like something had stepped in front of each one. From the other side. Marcus ran. But before he reached the door, he heard his own voice behind him, saying something he hadn't said yet. He had seen it 3 times now. Always at the end of the hallway. Always watching. Marcus made it back upstairs. Breathing hard. Camera shaking for the first time all night. He leaned against the wall and closed his eyes for just a moment. "Okay," he whispered. "Okay." He opened them. The figure was at the end of the hallway. Same height. Same stillness. Same complete silence. Just standing there. Watching him. Marcus didn't move. Neither did it. For 30 seconds, neither of them moved. Then Marcus did something different this time. He didn't look away. He didn't step back. He raised the camera and slowly walked toward it. Step by step. Getting closer. 10 feet away. 5. 3. The figure didn't move. Didn't react. Didn't disappear. Marcus stopped. Close enough now to see it clearly for the first time. And what he saw made him lower the camera. "That's not possible," he said. His voice completely flat. All fear gone. Replaced by something worse. Confusion. The camera stayed pointed at the floor for 11 seconds. When Marcus raised it again, the hallway was empty. And Marcus was no longer facing the same direction. The family photographs on the wall had changed. Marcus was certain of it. He walked back downstairs slowly. Something had shifted in him after the hallway. The fear was still there, but quieter now. Pushed down under something heavier. He passed the wall of family photographs and stopped. He had noticed them on the way in. Old family. Father. Mother. 3 children. Standing in front of the house in summer sunlight. Normal. Sad. Forgotten. But now, Marcus stepped closer. The father in the photograph was no longer looking at the camera. He was looking to the side, at something outside the frame. Marcus moved to the next photograph. The mother, who had been smiling in the first photo, was now facing away completely. Next photograph. The 3 children were gone. Just an empty field where they had been standing. Marcus stood in front of the wall for a long time. "I'm losing my mind," he whispered. Then his flashlight hit the last photograph at the end of the wall. One he hadn't noticed before. A photograph of an empty hallway. Dark. Familiar. The upstairs hallway of this house. And standing at the end of it, a figure, holding a camera. Marcus looked at the date printed at the bottom of the photograph. Tonight's date. He looked up from the photograph. Looked directly into his camera. "I need to leave," he said quietly. "Right now." He walked to the front door, reached for the handle, and the lights came on. Every single light in the house. All at once. This is where the footage ends. This is where Marcus disappears. Every light in the house blazing. After hours of darkness, the sudden brightness was blinding. Marcus froze at the front door, handle in his hand. He turned around slowly. The house looked completely different in the light. Clean, warm, lived in, like nobody had ever left. Like the dust and decay had never existed. Like the house had simply been waiting. A radio somewhere was playing softly. Old music. Gentle. Wrong. Marcus walked slowly back through the hallway. Into the living room. The family photographs were back to normal. Father, mother, 3 children, all looking at the camera, all smiling. But there was a new photograph on the wall now. Marcus, standing in the doorway. From tonight. He reached out and touched it. "How?" he whispered. Then he heard footsteps upstairs. Normal footsteps. Calm and unhurried. Like someone coming downstairs after a long sleep. Marcus turned toward the staircase. The footsteps reached the top step. Started coming down. He raised the camera one final time. Pointed it at the staircase. Waiting. The footsteps reached the bottom. Marcus took one sharp breath. And the footage ended. That was the last frame. Investigators later found the camera on the floor of the living room. Still recording. 6 hours of static. And in the final 30 seconds of that static, very faintly, the sound of someone humming. The same song that was playing on the radio. But the house was empty. Marcus was never found. Some places don't want to be found. And some investigators never come back.